We've walked these halls for 4 years, and now it's time to graduate. We've laughed, we've cried, we've celebrated, we've struggled, but we've never been alone.
Okay, I first gave my life to Christ when I was 2 years old, but I regave my life to Christ when I was 13, and they were both at my church at First Assembly of God, and it's now called Family Life Assembly.
It wasn't one defining moment. I think it just happened gradually. Actually, yes, there was one defining moment. I thought, like near 8th grade, I really liked just being part of a bigger purpose and serving somebody and being able to just belong and be loved by somebody so much that it's just overwhelming.
I'd have to say, well, I started going to church in 5th grade, but it took me a while to come around to the idea. I think in 7th and 8th grade I got baptized, and I think that was definitely a starting point for me. And then with campaigners in about 9th grade, it's about 9th grade is when I really accepted Christ and God as a big deal.
Well, when I really accepted it, and instead of just going to church every Sunday like the typical high school, middle school Christian, it's about 11th grade when I realized I didn't want to be living the life that I was actually living. And I decided that it was time to make a change. And so a lot of that was Lizzie helping me out, and I just decided to get more involved in my church community and just kind of devote my life to it and give it more time than I had been giving it. So about last year, where I fully did. I've always gone to church, but not really like I have been this last year.
So I gave my life to Christ probably when I was doing confirmation at the Lutheran church in 7th grade, I believe.
I gave my life to Christ when I went to camp. I believe it was between the summer of 9th grade and 10th grade. I was going to the top of a mountain. It was a Young Life camp with Mr. Dickinson. He was my youth leader, and we went to the top of this mountain. We hiked, I think it was 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and it was exhausting. It looked over the whole camp. It was very beautiful, and it was just me and him, and we went to the very top, and we just talked with each other, and at that moment I just kind of realized that this is kind of what I want my life to be, and I really appreciate Mr. Dickinson for that. He really led me, in that way.
I definitely talked to him more now. I pray more at night, and I read my Bible more. As when I was in middle school or even elementary school, I just went to church and that was it. It was just a Sunday thing. But now it's more a daily life thing, and that's kind of how I've grown over the years.
It's grown a lot, and I feel like I can trust in him, and I can just feel confident in what I'm doing because it's serving a bigger purpose.
Okay, so basically 9th grade, when I first found God, I was taking all this information, everyone's views of God and what they were and what He meant to them. But now I've developed my own version of God where He's so much closer to me and He's more personal, and I get more from that and more. I've become more spiritual, I think, because I've created my own, not my own view of Him, but I've created my own relationship with Him.
Again, my relationship growth has been due to
I feel like you've incorporated people around you.
yeah, because I've honestly these last years I've surrounded myself with a completely different group of people, and that helps you so much. Just being around different people that have the same beliefs as you or values that you do, and also just volunteering not necessarily even volunteering, just like being active in the church community that you're in, like doing all the fun stuff they do, like youth group, going to church every Sunday. That just helps me a lot because I will like stay involved and it's always there. Helps me be Christian more than one day a week.
Yeah, for me, probably, like, I was just, like, the churchgoer type, like Noah, and then I went through confirmation, and then I, like, actually studied and looked at the Bible, and I was like, wow, this is rocking. And so then I, like, I got more serious about my faith, and then I recently went on a mission trip that made me get, like, more serious about my faith as well. So I was always, like, reading the Bible daily and, like, praying with people every night. And so I think that grew me closer to Christ. So,
Well, there's always rough spots in high school, and I feel like my progression since a freshman to a senior has completely changed because of Christ. I was a Young Life leader, or a wildlife leader. That's basically a Christian youth group for middle schoolers. It made me a more open person, and a person not afraid of doing stuff in front of other people, and like not afraid of speaking out, and it taught me to be a leader, and that has really brought me closer. Is that the question still? Yeah. Okay. And well, right now I'm in a musical at our church called Godspell, and that is because of the Christian faith, and just a good grouping of people.
It's sort of challenging, depending on if you're like open, if you're Christian or not. If you're like not open about it, it's pretty easy, except for you're not probably really living for God. If you're like secretive about it, but like it's hard in like classes that are very controversial where you're trying to voice your opinion and if someone doesn't believe that and they don't respect that, it's hard to not get offended. So like I'd say it's pretty hard. It's challenging, but it makes you grow more in Christ.
Some people think it's weird, but then again, a lot of my friends are also Christians and they're okay with it, and it's just, I like that because I can talk to them if I have any doubts, and we can both like support each other in there, and it doesn't have to, like being Christian is not a bad thing in high school, so it's really cool.
Basically, it's easier than I thought, but I think that's because a lot of my friends are Christians and it makes it easier. But I have a lot of non-Christian friends as well, and the one thing I've learned is just being open-minded and respectful of everyone's beliefs while maintaining your own. So you can be put in the face of adversity and I don't believe in God, whatever it is, and you can say, you know what, I'm happy that you have a strong belief like that, but this is my belief, let me share that with you. But I think the biggest thing being Christian in high school has taught me is just how to live a Christian life in face of doubt and, like I said before, adversity. So I know it's going to get a lot more difficult in college when you have perhaps more liberal views. But I think this is kind of the stepping stone of showing me how I can maintain my strong faith in God and demonstrate that in a place that perhaps doesn't always have the same beliefs.
Being a Christian in high school, you see not so good stuff, and sometimes you have that, or I have that feeling that you need to speak out, but it's really hard in a high school situation because there's a lot of judgmental thoughts about everything, and that is a lot to take on, especially when you're young, and even though it is hard, you have to be yourself and and not afraid, because you know, if people judge you for who you are in that aspect, then they're not, you know, worthy to know you as a person. And that's how I feel.
I think he'll bring a lot of challenges because I'm going to Washington State University, which is one of like the biggest partying schools in the state, and so they have a church nearby, but it'll be pretty challenging, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm just hoping I can bring God to people, and I can also like use the talents He's given me to and use them out there.
I'm so excited that I picked a Christian school to go to. I think that was, although I didn't really see it as a big factor, I think it definitely did have some influence on where I'm going. So Pepperdine is a Church of Christ school, and because of this they have certain requirements, and the people on there, it's not the kind of school where, oh, like we're Catholic or we're Christian and you go there and it's not that. It's not like religiously based. Like Pepperdine really is religiously based. I have a roommate who's a Christian. I'm gonna be surrounded by other Christians. Mass and service is a big thing. They have requirements of classes you need to do to learn about faith. The house I'm going to be living in, you have a spiritual advisor where you have Bible talks with all of your friends on your suite, and they have this one class called like surfing and Bible study where you go surfing and then you have a Bible study on the beach. So I know, ridiculous, right? But I think Pepperdine is going to be an absolutely wonderful place.
So I am going to be going to University of Victoria up in Canada, and there's a lot of variety in culture, and I know there's going to be, you know, churches up there, and when I get to UVic I want to be involved, because honestly having that Christian faith, that means you are going to have people that care about you and people that you are going to be able to care about, you know, when you go to new places. And as a job, I'm thinking about doing computer science, and I just, you know, want to show compassion to others in any place I go to. So.